Hello, my name is Scott Sturgis. I'm a trustee for the Ohio Jury Management Association. With me today is David Ballman. David Ballman is president and also a trustee of the Ohio Jury Management Association. We're at the Ohio State Bar Association video studio to present and record this public service video relating to jury service in Ohio. David Ballman is the jury administrator for the Montgomery County Common Pleas Court in Dayton, Ohio. Today, David will describe the juror summoning process. But first, David, relate your background to us.
Good morning, Scott. I spent 30 plus years in information technology before I joined the court in 2003. And I have been administrating and supervising the jury services operation for the Montgomery County Common Pleas Court since 2003.
David, what are the qualifications to be a juror in Ohio?
Well, to be a juror, first you must be a U.S. citizen. Second, you need to be a resident of the jurisdiction of the particular court that might have summoned you as a juror. And lastly, you need to be at least 18 years of age.
Then, David, where do state courts in Ohio get the names of potential jurors?
The Ohio Revised Code requires that the list of registered voters be the primary source for jurors. Additionally, the motor vehicle list of drivers is acceptable if a particular jurisdiction wants to combine. And that list of drivers would include regular licensed drivers, commercial drivers, and individuals with state ID cards.
Is this list updated ever?
Most courts update it annually, although local rules would allow you to do it more often if the court so desired.
Now, I've had people ask me, why am I summoned frequently, or others never receive a summons?
Well, the process is a random selection process. In our courts, and in probably about half of the courts, there's an automated jury system that actually does the random selection. In Ohio, if you're selected, you do have a 1-year exemption before you would be selected again. Using some specifics from Montgomery County, we actually, because of the number of jurors and the response that we have, extend that to 24 months. So if you're summoned this year, it'll be 2 years before your name might be pulled again. Again, in our county, in the Common Pleas Court, there's a 10% chance that your name might be pulled in a particular year.
Then how are potential jurors in Ohio notified about their juror service?
Well, jury service is announced via a summons, and it's sent through the mail. Some courts send out a qualification summons indicating that you are possibly going to be a juror, answer some questions, and then subsequently, when they're ready to use you, would send you another bit of information indicating that this is the time to show up. There's also something called the one-step system, where in fact the summons and the qualification is all done in one very efficient process. The term of service for jurors in the state of Ohio varies from 1 day and 1 trial to some counties it goes as long as 6 months and multiple trials.
How then are jurors instructed to report to the court?
The summons itself, in many cases, says you're on call for a particular day, particularly next Monday morning. Please check over the weekend with this particular answering recording message number, and see whether you need to actually report. Some courts indicate it on the website. Some courts actually call or send emails or text messages reminding the juror that they should report.
Do jurors in Ohio's courts get paid for serving?
Yes, jurors do get paid, but the amount of pay is determined by the Board of County Commissioners in each county. Some counties pay differently for whether you're called and not seated. Some pay for a half day versus a whole day. Some pay for the whole day, whether you're there for just part of it. The normal range is between $10 and $20, but it can range all the way from $6 or $7 to $40.
Can a juror's employer prevent a potential juror from reporting for jury service?
The law prevents an employer from preventing a permanent employee from reporting for jury duty, as long as that juror provides reasonable notice to the employee, which is usually presentation of the summons or showing what it is that has been requested. And again, if the individual is absent from work because of jury duty, again, the employer cannot affect that person's employment. We have had on occasions where people are on call and don't show up, but they don't go to work either. That's not legal. An employee cannot be forced to use their vacation leave or sick leave to report for jury duty. But however, in Ohio, the employer is not required to pay an employee for reporting for jury duty.
What allows an individual, David, to be excused from jury service?
There are a number of reasons that a person can be excused by the Ohio Revised Code. One of them is if you're over 75 years of age, you're not excluded from being summoned, but you can ask to be excused. If a relative or spouse has recently died or is dangerously ill, you can ask to be excused. If an individual is suffering from a mental or physical illness, disability, that person may be excused. It usually requires documentation. And it is possible that if it is of a permanent nature, that person can be excused permanently if the medical professional so requests. If there's extreme physical or financial hardship to the individual or someone under the care of the individual, it is possible for that person who has been summoned for jury duty to be excused. Occasionally, someone can be excused in the public interest. Different examples of that might be that the person is infamous, that the person is how should I put it, disruptive sort of person and is known to be. Additionally, this doesn't happen very often anymore, but if you're a cloistered religious, you can request to be excused. And again, in Ohio, if you're an active member of a recognized Amish sect and really practicing, you are able to be excused.
Is it possible, David, to postpone jury service?
The Ohio Revised Code allows you to reschedule or postpone one time, and that can be done up to 6 months. And we usually try to do it with the agreement of the individual asking the request so that there is not a subsequent request due to whatever the conflict may be. On occasion, if there's some dire emergency, a second request may be granted, but that's very unusual.
Where, David, can someone obtain more information about the juror summoning process?
Well, the Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 2313, goes into extreme detail, and it's available on any Google sort of approach. Additionally, we have a lot of information on the Ohio Jury Management website with regards to jury duty.
Thank you, David, for your insights, and thank you to the Ohio State Bar Association for hosting us.
Thank you.